The Real Housewives of New York might actually have a season. We saw a lot last night, and you know we have to recap it. Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, where you get daily and consistent hot topics in music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. And some reality TV recaps. As always, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So a new episode of The Real Housewives of New York aired last night, and I think we might be headed in the right direction. So you may recall we reported on a recent story that the Real Housewives of New York experienced their lowest rated season. Well, it looks like we might be moving in a better direction. And a lot of people have been speculating why exactly have they decided to push back the reunion from August 7th to September. And I honestly believe that they're trying to save the season with editing, maybe shooting additional scenes. Who knows? Who knows? But I think that's part of the reason. And they want to see how this plays out. That way they can address these new things that they've added to the episodes during the reunion. They're also speculating that the Real Housewives of New York's next season will not begin until 2022. And as you may recall, there have been rumors that Ramona Singer was fired. I didn't believe those rumors, honestly, just because it's so early. It's too early. But you never know. You never know. Does the Real Housewives of New York need a shakeup? Of course they do. Of course they do. You've had some of the same housewives for many, many seasons. And of course, you know how I feel about Leah. And then a lot of you have been saying Leah and Eboni need to go. I don't think Eboni needs to go. I think some people are very uncomfortable with the conversations, but I do think the conversations were necessary. But I also do believe we need to see other sides of Eboni. We started to see those sides earlier in the season. And I think we're going to continue to see those sides in the next few episodes. I don't think it's going to necessarily be where it was these last few episodes. Regardless, I think that Eboni deserves another season so we can see what her relationship will be with the other women, especially if the rumors are true that Dorinda may be coming back. You know, we've heard reports that Dorinda Medley has been asked back for next season, or there's conversations being had with Dorinda Medley at the time. And based on what everyone has been saying in the comment section, you all believe that as well. You're all ready for Dorinda to come back. And here's my thoughts based on this latest episode of The Real Housewives of New York is that Sonja might need to be either downgraded to a friend of or a season off. I know we all love Sonja. However, if we're going to give Dorinda a season off because of her, quote, drinking allegedly, then we need to do the same for Sonja. And it's not to punish Sonja. It's more to be like, okay, Sonja, this is becoming a little too toxic. We have to make sure that you're safe because, you know, there was that season where she almost bumped her head on the table, that hard table, and other things. But specifically this last episode, her breaking private property where she could have hurt herself, although she used her bag. We don't know. She could have hurt herself and she could have hurt other people, including their cameramen and producers. But since we're talking about that, that's where we jump off. The conversation between Bershan and Sonja gets heated because both of them are drinking, but you know, Sonja maybe had a water pill and so she's really twisted. And she's in Bershan's face, and Bershan's like, do not get in my face with your hand like that. And I'm glad that Bershan, because if you missed it, Bershan was on Up and Adam's page earlier today, and be sure to check that out. I'll post a link in the description of this video so you guys can see our conversation. We asked her some questions, and there will be an interview with Adam and Bershan at some point, so be sure to check that out. But she answered some of those questions. And Bershan, I feel like I don't have this connection with Bershan where I'm like, the way that I feel about Leah, I don't feel that way about Bershan. I think we still need to give Bershan an opportunity to show more of herself. Yes, I have more questions in regards to her relationship with Eboni and how that evolves over the season. And I'm also not saying that they need to love each other just because they're Black. We don't all love each other. We all have different personalities that gel and that do not gel. But there were some other questions that I want to dig deeper on when it comes to Bershan and the whole all lives matter situation. But that's a long conversation. And I think she's willing to have it. The other thing, though, in regards to Bershan and Sonja's fight, honestly, I think that Bershan was right. when she said that, Sonja is a clown. Clown might not be the nicest word, but Sonja is a bit of a clown. We've talked about this. And her calling the ladies boring, was it Ramona's fault for hyping this group up? No, you guys have said they were boring. But despite all of that, this episode, they're able to, first there's that awkward moment at the elevator. Remember that? That was an awkward moment. But then they're able to have the conversation. They're able to move forward and be in a better place. Poor Bershan breaks down. And I think Bershan broke down because, first of all, I think she was a little tipsy. But I also think she didn't realize that they would react so badly to her calling them boring or grandmas, because she feels that's the way she talks with her girlfriends. But she's new in this group. And that's a big, first of all, you're new in a group. You're one of the only Black women on this show. And you're new to this whole franchise. You're new to this whole filming process for Bravo. I know she's done reality TV before, but she's new to this Bravo world. And I'm sure there's an element, I need to show up, I need to show out. But I think there's also the new element of like, this is who I am. And they don't know that. They don't know that I'm being facetious. But I'm open to seeing a little bit more of Bershan. I think she's open to actually holding an apple next season. But here's my thing. And I've said this multiple times. I'm okay with Luann and Ramona. Remember, they did start off being married on the show. In life, divorce happens. They were housewives, like actual housewives. I'm okay with them staying on the show. Sonja, we were introduced to her and she was already divorced. But she was a housewife at one point. And she lives that lifestyle, or did live that lifestyle. But with that being said, I said I'm a straight shooter. Eboni and Leah, this was Bravo and the production company's opportunity to get actual housewives. And they leaned in a direction that was not that. And I've heard, Andy Cohen say, no, Real Housewives is just really a play on words. No, you started the show off with actual Real Housewives. Yes, you had, Bethany, who was single, but the majority of your cast were housewives. The majority of your cast was housewives. So let's stick with that element, because I feel like that element actually works. It actually works. Unless you're bringing someone in that has a really great personality. You're like, no, I think people are going to love this woman. I do think there needs to be a shakeup. The rumor on the street is that they are looking for new housewives for the Real Housewives of New York. But we shall see who should come back, who should not come back. You guys will, of course, debate it in the comments. But as always, be respectful. Let's get back into this latest episode. So they're still in Salem. That's the one thing I love about New York. They really can be in one particular, area, the Hamptons, Salem, whatever it may be, for a couple of episodes. And I can be entertained. And I know, the last few episodes you guys have said you shut off the TV, you're not entertained. But it's getting better. It's getting better. And based on the trailer for the upcoming episodes, it does get better. It does get better. Fingers crossed. But they're still in Salem. They Bershan and Sonja get over their situation for now. Based on what Bershan said this morning, they're in a better place, her and Sonja. Bershan and Eboni's interaction, I can see where there's some tension there. But honestly, I don't feel like Eboni had Bershan's back. Especially when everyone was attacking Bershan. I don't feel like she was sort of like, she's like, I gave you my Black girl credit already. And I was like, okay, I don't feel like you really did. I don't feel like Eboni really had Bershan's back in that battle. I think she just was happy she wasn't the focus, which I get. I get it. She was happy that she wasn't the focus. So she was just like, girl, you're on your own here. And plus she also she likes Sonja. We all love Sonja. But Sonja is a bit of a clown. Let's straight shooter. Okay. Anyways, but moving on from that particular part, I have to look at being a straight shooter. Eboni and Leah's glam team. Look, I know we have that in Beverly Hills, with Dorit and whatnot, but I'm over it. Why do you girls need glam in Salem? Why? Please let me know. In Salem, and this is where it becomes they're too self-aware that they're on TV. That's the only reason why they have glam, because they're on TV. And to me, it takes away to see them getting glam. That's not real. I'm getting glam. We're in Salem. I'm gonna get some glam. It's like, oh girls, oh girls. Either way, Leah in this episode, Leah, Luann, Ramona, before they go for this seance, they were talking about having a conversation with Sonja about her drinking. They finally, I thought, and this is why we love the show, and this is why we love the interaction between people like Ramona and Sonja. When Ramona hides Sonja's drink, and Sonja's like, I am not a fool. She's hiding my drink. She's trying to bamboozle me and redirect me and blah 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 blah. She finally goes over. Sonja gets defensive, of course, because they're talking about the drinking. I get where Leah was coming from. They tried. I don't think they are professionals to handle this particular situation, but they do consider her friends, to consider her a friend. And I was like, I get what they're trying to do, but this is way above your pay grade, y'all. And when they have the seance, the medium says it. The guy medium didn't seem so on point, because when he was reading Luann or Bershan, it just seemed like, his example with Bershan being a goat. I mean, I'm sure Bershan appreciated it, but I was like, what? I don't understand. And then Luann was like, he didn't take his Wheaties this morning. I was like, oh, this is not a good look. And I'm sure it could be editing too. He could have said things that were pretty true. Who knows? But with that being said, the woman was really good. And we learned more about these women that we've known for many, many years. But before we get into that, she talks with Leah. Leah's grandmother, who doesn't necessarily believe in this stuff, is there. And she gets emotional about it because she talks about Leah, learning this new religion. And I was like, oh, okay. We started there. Then she goes to Eboni. Ebony's grandmother was there. And Eboni, I slipped in your DMs and I said, you need to listen to what your grandmother's message was, because I know Ebony's been going through a lot. If you've been missing all the tea, Eboni, people are trying to, discredit Eboni, saying that her law license is suspended. Let's address that real quick. I did a quick under a minute video talking about that, just because I have a legal background. I've worked in the legal field, specifically when it comes to checking people's bar status. Bar statuses across the United States vary from state to state in regards to how they label it. Is it suspension? Is it inactive? Those types of things, and what that means. Here's the thing, and I didn't think it was a big deal, especially because I would think that Ebony would be more aware that would get out, especially being a public figure, even before RHONY. She hasn't worked in North Carolina in 11 years, and she finally addressed this. I addressed it, and then she shared what I said on social media. Then she went live and talked about it and really broke it down for everyone and exactly what it means. Her law license in North Carolina, where she has not lived in 11 years, 11, my number. She hasn't lived in 11 years, and there are dues. And when you don't pay those dues because they're expensive, first of all, you don't need to pay the dues if you're not practicing law. She's not practicing law, but she is going to pay the dues so that you guys aren't out here saying, oh, her law license in North Carolina is suspended. Doesn't change the fact that she went to law school. She has worked as a lawyer for many years, has the legal brain and understanding of what that is, of what the law is. That doesn't change the fact that she knows law. If she was going to practice law and her bar was suspended, okay. But I get it. You guys found some tea. Is it a campaign to discredit her? Probably. But just because I know a little something about that particular area, I already knew. I was like, this is garbage. This is not tea, y'all. Her bar license in North Carolina was inactive. Yes, they labeled it suspension or suspended. Every state handles that differently, labels it differently. It is what it is. She can pay it, and that could be handled within a day. That could literally be handled within a day, because I've seen it handled within a day. It varies state to state. Ebony's grandmother comes through during this seance and pretty much tells her to keep going. Like, you have a mission. Your mission, she sees it as being for women. Keep going. And I was like, Eboni, you need to be reminded of this message that you received months ago through this medium, through your grandmother. Keep going. Press forward. I know she's been dealing a lot. Look, the Bravo world, some of you fans need to calm down. Calm down. Either way, I thought it was a beautiful moment with Eboni. And just want to remind people what we got from Eboni in the early parts of this season so far. There is a lot there. I see that we're going to get more. We're going to be around more of Eboni's friends, which definitely gets more colorful, which I'm excited to see on RHONY, which should have always been, but whatever. We'll move forward. But then, of course, she moves on to Sonja. Sonja's father comes through, and we learn more about Sonja's father, and it clearly explains why Sonja has issues possibly with drinking and men. And Sonja gets really emotional, and a lot of the ladies didn't realize, these aspects of Sonja. Or Ramona's brother. We knew she had siblings. We had no idea. I think I do remember a story about Ramona's brother dying. And it was only 2 years ago that he passed away. He comes through, and Ramona really gets emotional about it. And that's why I'm saying when people say, oh, Ramona needs to be off the show, blah, blah. Look, I get it. Look, I completely get it. But with that being said, we're still finding out new things about these women that we've been following for 13 years. Maybe finding out too much last week's episode, Ramona. Okay? And if y'all missed that episode, go watch it. It was a mess. But with that being said, I thought this was a solid episode. If I had to rate it, because Adam's always asking me to rate these episodes, I would probably rate it a 7 still. I think I would rate it a 7 because I think it was solid. I think it was funny. It had funny moments, but it also had emotional moments. If I'm tearing up during an episode, then it wasn't as bad as everyone's going to make it out to be. But of course, I definitely think they need to shake up the cast next season. Dorinda needs to come back because all of the fans are ready for Dorinda to come back. All of the fans are ready for her to come back. I definitely want to see some actual housewives. I already told you guys how I feel about Leah coming back. I don't think she needs another season. I'm willing to give Eboni another season. Bershan is as well. I want to see more of Bershan. I'm interested to see what Bershan has to say and how she mixes with the women going forward. I felt like they all sort of ganged up on her in this last episode, and that's why she was crying, because she was just sort of like, I didn't mean it the way that you guys are making it out to be. But that's why we love this show, the conflict and resolution. Anyways, guys, I want to know your thoughts on the latest episodes of The Real Housewives of New York. What did you think of the season so far? What do you think about some of the tea in regards to what's going on offline? Let's continue the conversation, respectful conversation, in the comment section. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.